And I'm back. I'm back in Houston. This is Gabriel Garcia with Expert35. As promised, we bring experts from different industries, 35 different industries, talking about hardships, challenges, and how to get through it. But so much has changed. I did go on a couple-week hiatus. I have Greg here. Greg, thanks for joining us. Say hi to the
Hey,
crew.
hey everybody, how's it going?
I want to put your name up because I don't think people know just how important it is to have this team around you. I'm actually gonna get emotional, but I couldn't do what I do without Greg. Greg's been kind of holding the fort behind the scenes. He's been, making sure that things work, the audio works, that people know when to go, and thank you, Greg. I just kind of want to take a second to thank you for everything you've done to help us get to where we're at.
It's my pleasure. It's always a lot of fun.
And another thing is, we'd scheduled out a bunch of things because I was in Yellowstone. Actually, here, we got a little updates. I was in Montana, and taking a little time off and getting away from the reopening because I thought the reopening was going to be tough. And I've got my girlfriend is immunocompromised, and I know Greg, you also struggle with the reopening, right? Tell us a little bit about what's happened in your life.
Yeah, well, as far as the reopening, I'm also immunocompromised. So it's just something I always have to be aware of and be prudent and all that. So it just adds an extra layer of a personal, being affected by when things change in the environment and things open up. So.
Right. And in a way, we've been super grateful and thankful, for this technology that we're able to kind of bring people together while being apart. And I think we've done a lot on the business side, on the family side, and but we really kind of, being away, being in the mountains, and all of a sudden just seeing, cities that you love just go through the protests and the community that's been built. I felt like that's why we took a break from some of the things we were broadcasting because it's heavy. And I think there's the split between what where we want to go and what's holding us back. So Montana was great. It was a great disconnect, but now I'm almost feel like I'm behind. And so we also had an opportunity. One of our interns, Christian, graduated, first generation going to college. And so that was really special. I don't know if people caught on, but when did you broadcast that? Was that Friday, Greg?
That was Friday. Yeah, they had a great celebration.
And social distance, and again, you acted as Christian to help him broadcast and bring his family together. And we had dozens of people on that line watching it. So again, internally grateful for you, Greg, for being there for our team. And but just, I'm sad.
Yeah. Well, I imagine you had an opportunity to get a different perspective being in Montana, getting away from things and the contrast with the solitude of, and I saw you and I were on a call and it's just mountains in the background. It looked like a Zoom background,
Right.
fake, but it was actually real, it was gorgeous. So, but I'm guessing you got a good opportunity to really, have a different perspective than otherwise if you would have, stayed in Houston that whole time.
Right. No, and we drove. I actually, Craig Murphy, I'll throw him on there. He's like, hey, did we drive or we flew? I was like, we had to drive. I put 4,500 miles on a rental car, and that just kind of helped us, go through the cities and make sure that we stay safe. We carried all our water and just try to, we saw one of our friends in Taos, New Mexico. Johnny, if you're watching, and Margaret. Margaret used to work with us when she lived in Houston, and it was really hard to be socially distanced. We camped in their driveway, and kind of saw them from afar.
Yeah, it's challenging, and and I think everybody's feeling this, and I think this whole environment and all the adjustments we've had to make, even though we think that it's kind of become a new normal and we adapt pretty quickly. there's still a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And I think the whole country and the whole world is picking up on this also, and is contributing to a lot of things that we're seeing.
Right. No, no, it was
So
just such a shock. I mean, I'm in a cabin, kind of like, super isolated, but then all of a sudden, because of Zoom, because of like, you know, Prime and being able to just the internet, just seeing these videos and thinking like, man, these people really, we need a voice,
yeah,
and kind of go back to like eternally grateful for technology because this is decades, right? This is what we're talking. This is decades of suppression. But just having this technology, being able to have a voice, it's really hard.
yeah. Yeah, I agree, and I think that is one of the really good things now is that just because we have these devices that the phones that we can carry around everywhere with a camera and a microphone, and we can stream live and all that, that it really does give people who otherwise wouldn't have that voice and couldn't document their experience in real
Right.
time with everybody else. It really has made you know it made everyone else more aware because we have so
Right.
much more access now. And but at the same time, it comes into your living room, into your pocket, right? So there is
Right.
a tremendous amount of pain out there, and a lot of challenges, and now we get to see that and experience that. So
Right. And I experienced it. I mean, I came from Mexico, family moved to the United States, and being an immigrant, you feel it. I mean, I was told to go sit with my own kind. And I've been put in the back of the cop car. In fact, just last year, I got thrown in the back of a cop car for acting like a child and not wanting to sign when the officer wouldn't show me his credentials that he was an officer. And I have, it was just, it's tough, not ever feeling like you have the same opportunities that the people have.
well, and I think it's important that Gabe, that you're actually sharing that, and thank you, because people need to hear that. And I think that's one of the most important things is we're talking about like having a voice. Now is not the time for silence, because silence unfortunately becomes tacit approval,
Right.
and sometimes people become silent because it's not always comfortable to discuss it or to address the problems and all those types of things. But it really is important to express that and express those emotions, and because this is a real change. I think. I think people know that, and there's something is different about this time,
Right.
and
No,
it's
no.
it's
Watching these videos, first I was like, oh wow, like proud of them, and then I would start seeing like the looting and the rioting. I was like, this isn't us. And without knowing, I even told Sarah and I told people there, I was like, this is a different group. There's like a split, right? Tell me a little bit about what you see, because you're in LA.
I'm in
Right.
Los Angeles and Santa Monica specifically, but yes.
Right. And like, I mean, some of these protests were like right down the street.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. There were protests all over, and and they were primarily down by where the pier is. If people are familiar with Santa Monica, and I live just a couple blocks away from the pier, so there were large crowds, lots of helicopters, lots of police presence. But they also protests would split off, and they would
Mm-hmm.
march. So they actually came down the street, multiple times a day over the whole weekend, and they were peaceful. But then we did have the other problem that you mentioned, which is the looting and all of that, and that was completely separate from the protests. In
Right.
fact, it was these were people that were criminals and opportunists, and were using the peaceful protests as cover to go in and just commit
Right.
criminal activity. And in fact, where the looting was happening was blocks away.
Oh,
literally
really?
blocks away from any protest whatsoever. So there was a real clear distinction of what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, and we're talking, we're talking Houston, we're talking Austin, LA. Those are big cities, but like I said, I was camping in my friend's driveway in Taos, and he says, Taos, New Mexico, right? They had a protest, they had a protest and a demonstration, and it was super peaceful, and it was a small number of group. It wasn't the thousands, but per capita, it's a huge group.
Right.
So I mean, I'm just like, I'm reaching out to say, like, man, we'd love to use our voice.
Right. I think it's real important, and to in whatever way we can to give people the platform, and we're all about helping people, and so that's what the message is today. And
Yeah.
so we just need to find out moving forward how best can we do that.
Right. So if you know somebody that we should put on this show that could give us some guidance in how to build stronger community, how to make that change. I see Jennifer is like, use your voice and vote. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah,
Absolutely, right? Like,
no doubt.
you know, and Sean is talking about the fact that there has to be change, and I agree, right? And I think a lot of us feel powerless in how we just gonna have to let things roll and like work themselves out, or we feel afraid of sticking our necks out and not having the opportunities that we do have.
Exactly. And I think it's important that that for all of us to act in spite of all of those feelings, and you know and there's a lot of people out there that are that finally do see that
Right.
things do need to change, and and I think we're going to see it.
Right.
Something's different about this time for sure.
So reach out to us, text expert35 to the number. Actually, I'll put it on the screen so people can see our number. um, we'd love to have people kind of submit other people that I can connect with, other people that can bring on board to just like spread this love for people, for humanity, and just help us learn. It's not just voting. It's not just like going out and protesting. It's really like make a change. And I think a lot is going to be a little small change and like local, but that's what makes the big change, right? It's like, and I love that we have this technology because it's the only way that we can unify even by being while we're separated. I mean, Greg, you're in LA. This is amazing. Like, I
Yeah.
would have never met you if it wasn't for technology. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
so most of our teams all over the world, and we've got a huge, following and people that have just kind of been, learning from what our original mission was, and I think it's still our same mission. Is like, hey, we want to be. I guess it's now different. I originally was like, we want to get to what it was. I was like, no, we want to build a better version of ourselves. So
Very well said.
give us your ideas, and Greg, we didn't even talk about this, right? But like I said, what are 3 things we should do now?
Well, I know it's your favorite part of the show, so I actually have 3 things.
Oh, did you? Good. Because I was
Yeah.
like, oh wow,
No,
this is not at all what I was expecting.
And number 1 is to listen. Okay, drop our preconceived notions and ideas about what is and what's going on, and truly listen. Truly listen to those people who are affected and have been affected for generations from systemic racism. Number 2 is seek to understand. Say, I don't know. Okay, and from that place comes understanding. So seek to understand is number 2, and number 3 is speak up, like we talked about before. Now is not the time to be silent. Silence is tacit approval, and it's important for voices to be heard, and to communicate, and to reach out and reach across, and make those connections. And you know, those are pretty good three things.
And I'm just gonna vocalize what Jennifer said is like love. Like you can't have fear and you can't have love in the same conversation. I think a lot of us have lived in fear. But we just need, if we put love back into this country, back into our relationships, back into anybody. You know, you can't fear somebody that you give love to. So, you know, I ask that we come together, we share ideas, and really support it. And like, let's put a stop to the anger, the riots, and the opportunists. I mean, that's got to stop. This is a country of immigrants. This is a country of people coming together with different ideas, different locations, different cultures, and that's what makes it so wonderful. And but it's gonna be different. You know, I think today's gonna be different, and that's gonna make every other day from here on different too.
Well, Gabriel, I just wanted to say that on behalf of a lot of people, thanks to you to being the driving force behind this platform and Expert35 and getting this off the ground pretty much single-handedly, and and providing direction and that platform to provide people so they can actually be heard. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Greg. Thanks for all the support in the back. I mean, never thought I'd be in front of a camera. I never thought I'd be in front of a camera crying either.
Well, it's real stuff. It's real stuff, and it takes courage to be authentic and to speak truth.
Well, we make it plea. Like, let's get people on here that can make a change.
Absolutely, that's a deal.
Greg, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks
for being part of this. Thank you for being my friend.
Same. It's awesome.
And thank all of you guys for joining.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everybody.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Be safe.